Okay, so now we want to be looking at the surface area and volume of cylinders. Now, if you can remember to the surface area and volume of prisms, a prism was nothing more than a two-dimensional object with some depth or some height. And so what we did was to find the surface area, we added up all the different faces and their areas, and for the volume, we took the area of the base and multiplied it by the height. Well, a cylinder is nothing more than a prism, but it's a circle. So again, a prism is a two-dimensional object with height. A prism is a two-dimensional circle with height. So if we want to find the volume of a cylinder, we want to find the area of the base, which the area of the base of the circle is pi r squared. That's the formula for the area of a circle. If we want to multiply it by the depth, the height, it's just times h. So the volume of a circle is, the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times h. Now the surface area, if you think about it, we have these two circular bases. So pi r squared is the area of a circle. So it's going to be 2 pi r squared. Pi r squared plus pi r squared is 2 pi r squared, plus the area of this distance around. Well, base times height, so we have the height, and then we have the base. Now the base is this circumference all the way around, and the circumference of the circle is 2 pi r. So we have 2 pi r times h. Now if you think about why that is, get a piece of paper and wrap it around so you have like a telescope. And you can see that the curved distance is the same length as the rectangle's base. And then the height, well, of course, is just the same thing as the height. So if I took this rectangle down the bottom and curved it around so that this left end touched this right end, it would be a nice cylinder. And I would just need to add the area of the two circle bases. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. And so we have the volume of each cylinder. So the volume for the first one is pi r squared times height. So the volume is pi. Here we can see the radius is 2, so 2 squared, times the height, which in this case is 9. And so we have that the volume is 36 pi. But because we are rounding our answer to the nearest hundredth, we want to say that this is 113.10 inches cubed. And that's the volume there. For number 2, again, we have volume is equal to pi r squared times height. So the volume is equal to pi. Here they give us the diameter, so the radius is just going to be half of that. So if the diameter is 24, the radius is 12. So that's 12 squared times the height, which is 8. So that's going to give us, if we round this, it's going to be 3,619.11 miles cubed. That's volume. Now for surface area, again, we want to add the area of the two circular bases. And so here we have a diameter of 10, so this radius is 5. So we have 2 times pi r, which in this case is 5 squared, plus 2 pi, which is the circumference. So 2 pi times r, which again is 5, times the height, which is 9. So if I clean this up a little bit, here I get 50 pi. 5 squared is 25 times 2 is 50, so 50 pi plus 90 pi. So this is actually going to give me 140 pi. And so if I multiply 140 times pi, I get 439.82 centimeters squared. Again, this is centimeters squared because we're talking about surface area. In this last example here, we can see we have a nice radius of 1. So we have 2 pi times 1 squared, and pi times r squared, so pi times 1 is the area of this circle. We multiply by 2 to get the area of those two circles added together. And we multiply this by 2 times pi times 1, which is the radius, times the height, which is 4. So again, if I clean this up, I get 2 pi plus 8 pi, and that is 10 pi. So if I do 10 pi, I get that is, I don't even know why. Put this in my calculator. And I don't know why, because of course, if you multiply 10 by pi, you just move the decimal over. So it's 31.42 miles squared, again, because we're talking about surface area. So a cylinder, hopefully you can see, is a little bit nicer than a prism, because there's really no need to draw a net. But again, if you want to draw a net, you can. So make sure you do know these formulas, and you'll be doing all right with cylinders and finding their volume and surface area.